everybody, and welcome to Europa Universalis 4, the Paradox Grand Strategy game that is becoming my #1 game in my Steam library. Honestly, it is almost my #1 played game that's on that library, just behind Empire Total War, which has like 300-something hours. But this is getting close, and there's a reason for it. The game is awesome. I've been playing it quite a lot lately, and I figured I would record, take you guys along for the journey, start a new game, see where it goes, and see how this new series develops. Now, I've played through a couple of different nations so far. I've played as England. I formed Great Britain, colonized North America. That was a pretty decent playthrough until I got into a huge war with Spain and things started to fall apart. I've played as France, colonized a lot of Africa, and then eventually over into Indonesia. And that was a good game play, but I got to the point where I was pretty powerful and I got kind of bored. Like, there wasn't much going on. I also played as Hesse, which was the very first playthrough that I ever did, and I ended up forming Westphalia. I've also played as Connaught, which was terrible. I don't even want to talk about that one. And then I played as the Teutonic Order, and I ended up forming Prussia, and that was one of the best playthroughs that I ever had. But I decided I wanted to try something a little bit different for the actual recording of the series, and kind of see where that went. I have never played an Eastern technology group. All the nations that I played before, France, all these ones, they were all Western technology groups, and I want to try an Eastern one. So I want to pick an Eastern one. I want to pick one that's a little bit smaller and a little bit more challenging. And for some reason, as I was looking through this map, Bosnia has stood out to me. I don't know why, but it just popped out to me, and I think this is the one that we're going to go with. We're going to go with Bosnia. Now, to take a look at what we've got here as Bosnia, it's an Eastern technology group, which is what we were looking for. It's still Catholic, which is kind of interesting because if you look at the religious map mode, we have Catholicism, which rules pretty much all of Europe. And once you get down here to where Bosnia actually is, half of it is Orthodox. And then you start to kick off into the Orthodox territories and then Sunni territories over here. So the religious gameplay through this might be a little interesting as we're going along, as we're starting to expand. And I hope to expand eventually down here. So we'll see what happens once that occurs. The other interesting thing here is how piece of shit the starting ruler is. He's a 0 in administrative, he's a 0 in diplomatic skill, and he's a 2 in military skill. It's not the end of the world. He's going to die eventually. Maybe we can kill him off if we make him a general, possibly, and if we lose a war somewhere. But he'll die eventually, which is the good news, and then his son will take over. And I don't know if I actually know if he has an heir, actually. But once he takes over, he'll be a lot better, we're pretty certain, better than a 0-0 and a 2. Now, to go over the Bosnian ideas, our starting ideas, we have here Bosnian traditions of tolerance of heretics of +3 and religious unity of +25%. Fairly decent to start with. And then once we complete all of our ideas, we get a core creation cost. The other ideas we have to complete are these ones here. Once we complete all those ones, we have a core creation cost of -15%, which will be good as we expand. It'll cost us less to put cores in. And then our ideas that we're going to be unlocking, we have the heretic teachings, which is a technology cost of -5%, pretty decent. Perispera ad Astra, which gives us a yearly legitimacy of +1. We have Empower the Bosnian Nobility, which gives us a leaders without upkeep of +1, which is good because I like to have more generals without costing a whole lot of money. It's always good to have a free general. We have the Italian Connections, the diplomatic relations of +1. Land Princes will follow that, which gives us an income from vassals of +25%, and vassal force limit contribution of +25%. So it's going to be good to make use of some vassals as we expand, apparently. After that, we'll unlock the flexible diplomacy, which gives us the diplomats of +1. Followed, lastly, by Over the Hills and Through the Woods to Grandmother's House we go, which gives us an attrition for enemies of +1 and fort defense of +15%. And I was reading through the paragraph there, and it's because the Bosnian territory, the initial starting territory, is pretty much all completely mountains, and that gives you a big defensive bonus. So, looking at this, I think what I want to do is... Now, I don't know if any of these people are going to be allied with anybody. We'll find out once the game starts. But I want to take over Ragusa here, because it's small. Their military will probably be pretty easy to walk through. And then that will give us some port access and some ocean access and allow us to do some shipping and trade and such. And then I want to try to move in and take over this Serbian territory and unify this entire area, this entire blob here as Bosnia. And then we're going to have to worry about the Ottomans, because I know that the Ottomans are going to want to expand up. So we're going to have to work on defending ourselves against the Ottomans. And then from there, I don't know. But those are the initial primary goals. Take Serbia, take Ragusa, and hold off the Ottomans until we're powerful enough to really bring the fight to them. Alright, so, and we're also doing Iron Man mode, which I've never done before, and that's going to prevent me from going back and loading a save that, you know, I might have had if I end up screwing up. So we're going to play the game as it develops. So let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, get to the political map mode here. I'm going to try to keep these episodes between 20 and 30 minutes. So if you guys feel like sitting down and watching for 30 minutes, I commend you. But that's going to be the average. I mean, we can't really cut them down too much because we won't have any content in them. Okay, so let me double check to make sure Regusa is not allied with anybody. It doesn't look like it. Serbia there's a truce with the Ottomans that ends in about 5 years. You can see the date up here, 1444. It ends in 1449. Okay. Now, let's prick our rivals here. It looks like our enemy is Ragusa and Serbia, so perfect. Let's go ahead and rival them so we can get the bonuses from the rivalry. Okay. Take a look at our economy. We're only bringing in 0.31 coin per month, which is actually really bad. I've never started with a country that's got that low of an initial economy. So that's going to be a problem. There's not really any way that we can fix that. I don't want to reduce the army maintenance because we're going to be going to war hopefully pretty soon with Ragusa and possibly Serbia if they decide to initiate a war with us. We can convert some religions. Like we saw earlier, half of our provinces are Orthodox, but it's going to take 208 months to convert one province with our missionary. That's a long time. I'm not really worried about it right off the bat. And actually, by activating our missionary, that's gonna require us to maintain him, which is gonna bring our balance down as well. So I'm not gonna worry about that right off the bat here. Advisors, I'm not gonna be able to afford an advisor. They're pretty expensive, even though we've only got a 3, 3, and a 5. I can't afford an advisor. Our heir, we do have an heir. That's good. He's 6 years old. How old is this guy? 32. All right. So hopefully he doesn't die before he comes of age. But he's going to be a 3-3-3 once he gets up. So that's not bad for early game. Whatever. Let's take a look at our missions really quick. Improve our prestige. Gains 1 stability, but we have to increase our prestige to 50. And I've always found that the improving the prestige missions are really hard. For me, at least, they are. They just take a long time, and I never really seem to accomplish them, so I never really go for the prestige missions. We have solidify our papal relations, which should be 100 here. Yeah, bring it up to 100, and it gives us papal influence of plus 0.5. And they're at a 25 now, so that shouldn't be too bad. Might do that one. And the last one's actually remove Regusa from the map, which is one of our goals that I mentioned earlier. Owned by Bosnia, and Regusa does not exist. And we get a manpower recovery speed of plus 10% and yearly prestige of plus 1. So, actually, let's take that mission. And I believe that's going to give us... Yeah, that should give us a core, or a claim rather, on that province. And that should give us casus belli to a war, which it does. Okay. And they're not allied with anybody. That could change once the game starts. Now, I want to try to get an alliance with either Austria, because they're pretty powerful, Hungary, because they're a neighbor, and they're actually going to be pretty good to help me fight off the Ottomans, and I would really like to get Poland as an ally. So they're not going to do. They're not going to do, and Austria's not going to do that. What about royal marriages? No royal marriages either. What about Venice? No. Alright, so we're not going to get any allies right off the bat. They've got the same number of troops as we do, and so do they. So everybody here is equal in the army. So I'm going to want to... We are going to have enough money to support at least one more infantry regiment. What are these? Eastern Medieval Infantry and Eastern Knights. Now, I've never played as an Eastern tech group, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how these develop too, because I've never seen them before. Let's get another regiment there. Let me double check the terrain of Ragusa. It's going to be a coastline, so I'm not going to have any terrain issues once I go to invade. And there's a river crossing between Hum, which is here, and Dalmatia, which is here. But there's no river crossing here, so I won't have a river crossing penalty if I attack this way. And actually, speaking of which, we should recruit a general, because I've got enough. He's going to cost 50. Are you sure we want to recruit for 50? Yep. Ooh. Actually, a really shitty general to start off with. He's got a 0 on fire, a 0 on shock, and only a 1 on maneuver. How about... What's better? What's better, having 1 in fire or 1 in maneuver? Probably... Oh, fuck it, let's just... We'll kick him. Alright, well, our ruler's gonna be the general. Whatever, he's got a 1 in fire, it doesn't matter. They were both pretty equally as shit, so... I don't know, I think having a 1 in fire is better than a 1 in maneuver. Okay, so we've got a guy recruiting, so let's start this off. We're not gonna get the... we already went through that one. Disputed secessions. Okay. Truce with the Ottomans expires, so we had a truce as well. That's gonna expire in 1449. Advisors. Alright, let's kick this off. A little bit slow on the start, but we had to get things looked at here. And actually, I want to do one more thing. Check on the merchants, collecting from trade in Venice, and transferring in Constantinople. Let's look at our trade. So he's transferring from Constantinople, but he's collecting, the other guy's collecting in Venice. And why is he collecting in Venice when our primary hub is the Ragusa trade node? Let's recall him, and when, let's see, we got 4 days. When he comes back, we'll assign him to Ragusa and see if that increases our money a little bit. And I'm gonna actually, while we're here, I'm gonna increase the diplomacy, increase our relations with Hungary. Maybe they'll give us an alliance. Okay, our merchant is back. Collect from trade. Yeah, okay, so that's 0.25 instead of 0.07 as it was before, or whatever it was. I don't remember. Let me double check our alliances. Austria formed an alliance with Genoa, Alsace, the Palatinate. Austria and Hungary allied. Oh, shit. They formed an alliance with Byzantium, which is here. Okay. What about Ragusa? Did they ally with anybody? Ragusa still hasn't allied with anybody. Okay. I think we're gonna go ahead and start this war right off here once my extra infantry regiment is recruited, because I want to have +1 against them. Wait, he had 6 earlier, didn't he? Where'd he go? Did he load him on the fleet here? Anyhow, that's okay. So that's perfect. That's perfect because he... Oh no, he's still there. They're just split up. They're not unified. Okay. Alright, we're gonna move down here. And we're gonna start this war off immediately. How much are we bringing in? 0.08. Ugh. Gross. That's really bad. But once we take over a new territory here... Oh, actually, I didn't even notice. Regusa is actually the coastal center of trade, which is beautiful because that gives us an increased trade power of +20, tax income of +0.5, and a naval force limit of +2. So that's actually really good. This is going to be a nice piece of property to take over. They're still not allied with anybody, and nobody else has a claim on them. So, all right. It's going to be 7 on 5. So let's declare the war almost immediately. Take Ragusa. Okay. Let's move in. I'm going to slow this down so we can see how the battle develops. He just recruited a general who's a 1 in shock and a 2 in maneuver. That's alright because he's not going to be going anywhere, but the 1 on shock is going to go against my 1 on fire, so... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this happens. Okay. Pause it here. If you've never seen this game before, pretty much you have a dice roll on every phase. You've got a fire and a shock phase. And whoever rolls the higher die is pretty much, you've got the advantage. Plus you've got these modifiers. I've got the +1 on the fire phase. And then on the next phase was going to be the shock phase. He's going to get a +1 modifier on the shock phase because of his general. And then you look at things like your discipline and your morale and your tactics, which we are all the same on, it looks like. And these things change based off of what kind of ideas you have and how many battles you win and a bunch of different factors. Your army tradition and your power projection and what have you. So, and then you can see here what regiments are engaging what regiments here. We have Cav, which is kind of on a flanking position here, and he doesn't have any cavalry, so I think we're gonna win this. I hope we knock out his army right in one swoop so he doesn't fall back into our mountains and we have to chase him into the mountains and take him out. Oops. 6 and a 1, and he got a 6. Looks like we're gonna shut him down. He got a 7 and 1, we got a 1, so that's a bad roll for us, but that's not that big of a problem. Okay, so he is falling back, and he's gonna land somewhere around here. And if he has an opportunity, he's gonna hold up in the mountains. And if we have to attack him, we're gonna get the penalty for attacking our mountains. We're still gonna get that. So let's try to chase him and shut him down before he can set up a good position in there. And then we'll move back down and actually occupy the territory so he can't recruit anybody else. Okay, so he got there first. And, okay. We didn't even have to fight it, pretty much. We just kind of got there and they ran off. So we're going to go back. We're going to occupy Ragusa, start the siege, and prevent him from recruiting any more men. And that's going to be our goal, is to knock out armies first, and then siege the provinces, because we don't want an army harassing us or taking over our provinces while we're trying to siege his province. So we're here. We've got a little bit of attrition, but it's not going to be that bad. I think the siege is going to be done before we lose all of our regiments. And we're at a negative 56, so we need to get that up to a positive 100 before our siege is actually done. And let me double check here while we're sieging to see if they want to give us an alliance here or possibly a royal marriage. Royal marriage, perfect. Let's send a royal marriage out. Okay, let's see if Austria wants to give us a royal marriage or an alliance. They don't. Alliance, nope. And neither one of these guys do here. So that's good. Actually, how many... Alright, that royal marriage gave us a 1 extra diplomatic relation, but we've got 3 more to go, so we're not going to be losing any diplomatic power from excess relations. So we can form up another 3 or so diplomatic relations with different countries. Be that a marriage, or an alliance, or a vassalship, or whatever. And we're coming up on about 20 minutes here, so I think once this siege is done, let me kick up the speed. Once the siege is done, I'll pull back my troops to the capital. Hopefully we'll have enough administrative power to actually core this and turn this into actual Bosnian territory to reduce the risk of any rebellions or anything like that. I don't know if I'll have enough. Usually it takes like 100 or something like that, depending on the province, to turn it into a core. We're going to keep our diplomat open so we can sue for peace when that comes. And it looks like Serbia is building up some pretty decent armies compared to ours. I mean, it's only an 8, but compared to what we've got, that could be a problem if they decide to declare war on us, especially since they have an ally, Byzantium. And I'm hoping that Hungary gives us an alliance before we get attacked by anybody. What about Venice? They're allied with Savoy. They're not going to give us anything useful. We're at a negative 35, negative 28 now. We just need to breach their walls and get that ticker going a little bit. 7 war score. That's not going to be enough, I don't think, to take over the territory here in a peace deal. So we're going to have to get it to 100, I would imagine. Oh. Some of our grain farms are having an excellent year, allowing us to feed more troops and so increase our manpower. And that gives us 289 manpower. Not that much, but we're a small country, so it's not that bad. I mean, it's better than getting a pop-up that reduces our prestige or our stability, especially, or takes a bunch of money away from us. Ah, we're in the negative. We're still positive 48 on coin, but we're losing 0.68 per month. So we've got a couple months before we actually hit 0, and then we're forced to take out a loan. And I don't want to take out a loan because it's going to take me forever to pay it back. Siege should be done soon. Okay, perfect. Siege is over. Spoils of war gave us 0.89, so that's not going to last forever. I saw the 0.96 and I was like, woohoo! But that's not going to last forever. We're going to go back down to like 0.10 or something per turn after next month. That was just the spoils of war. So we've got 100% war score. We can sue for peace. We demand their full annexation, which is going to make it a part of Bosnia. With a conquest casus belli, Bosnia gains 3.5 prestige, which we're currently at an 8, so that's going to give us a little bit. We're actually losing some, 0.42 a year. And it's going to give us a 5.2 aggressive expansion relations penalty, which I'm not really that worried about. Not that much initially. Bosnia will gain 7.5 power projection, will cost us 0 diplomatic power because we're not taking anything other than Ragusa, our war goal. If we decided to take more things or include more things in our peace deal, that would cost more diplomatic power. Which is this right here, which we have 93 of. And it's going to result in 0 inflation because I'm not going to ask for any money. It's not really that big of a deal. So we're going to send the demand. That should... Yep. Okay. Oh, actually, that completed our mission to remove Regusa from the map. So now we have a plus 10% manpower, and a yearly prestige of +1 until April of 1456. So for another 10 years. So that's good. And we can actually pick another mission while we're here. Improve our prestige. We're not going to do that one. Convert Visoki, that's our capital, to Catholic, and I think that was what that was going to take forever, wasn't it? Yeah, 208 months. We're not going to do that one. Let's do the papal relations, because that shouldn't take too long, and that's going to give us a yearly papal influence of plus 0.50. So we're going to take that as the mission and send our diplomat over. Diplomacy. Relations, improve relations. Shouldn't take too long, and that will give us a quick little mission completion. Let's send our army back up to Visoki. And then I think we're going to end it. We're going to figure out what we're going to do next, whether or not we should try to attack Serbia. I don't think we're going to do that because they have an ally, and it seems like they're being able to produce troops fairly efficiently, and I don't want to risk losing territory early on. So I guess we'll figure it out next time. But if you guys like this series, if you want to see more Europa Universalis 4, give me a comment, give me a like, subscribe. Tell me what you think, and tell me what you want to see more of in this series. I thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.